Hi, we are here to understand how to control a droid to make it do very easy operation. We have to keep in mind some capabilities that it got and others that it hasn't. The way we control the droid is through simple operations, and each of them got its own geometrical shape. Using all the shapes one after the other, we will control the droid doing little steps, but step by step it will reach the final goal. So every flow chart, every flow of these shapes, one after the other, basically starts with an oval. An oval that point to the first of all the operations. And so, into this oval, we have the beginning of all the flowcharts. This shape is used only at the beginning, just to tell the droid which is the first operation, because typically in a full flowchart we have a lot of shapes and a lot of ways. So who knows, into a mess like that, who knows which is the first one here? So I need something that tells me, or tells the droid, which is the first one to be executed. Then I will go from one shape to the other using the arrows. I go from one shape to the other, I don't know, let's make this one, using an arrow. So I need to know which is the first one, and begin tells me that. For example, okay. After the droid made all the operations, so all the passages, and it went through all the shapes, it's sure it will arrive at the end of the flowchart. This is a necessary operation, since if no end is reached, then it means the droid is stuck somewhere inside the chart and cannot exit. So as it is needed to be a begin, in the same way there is the need to have an end somewhere. So following all the routes inside the algorithm, through the algorithm, it's sure that in a way or in another, I have to arrive to an end. circle shape, elliptical shape, is used just to tell which is the begin and when we have finished, because we reached the end. The chart stops when I reach the end. There could be just one begin, and there could be just one end, but because usually flowcharts are very are a real mess. Sometimes they are full of shapes. So suppose that I stop here and I have to get to the end in this way. To avoid the need for a big arrow, it is commonly accepted that I put another end here. But in some way we can tell it's like a magical passage, a magical passage, and this end is even if it is here, is the same of this end. They are in some way connected. Okay, it's like a magical passage. So I can put a lot of end circle and elliptical shape, but we have to keep in mind that it's the same end. There is just one end. Okay. Well, the elliptical shape is used only for the beginning and for the end. Then we have a few of other shapes. Another one is this one, parallelogram. Which is used to make the droid manage the voice. Manage, I mean, with the O of output. I mean that if the droid meet this shape, the droid should use his voice. And what will he say? Well, he exactly will say the sentence I put here. Exactly say what I put inside the quotation marks. Let's say, I don't know, hello. Then the second way to manage voice is to make the droid listen to another human, because usually droids are used to serve a human being, and so probably droid will have to speak with a human client. So I make the droid listen using the same shape, but with the I of input. Okay. The problem here is that the droid has no memory. So once he listens to the human client, he will completely lose what the client said. And so, to avoid this situation, I make the droid write the answer on a piece of paper. And you understand that there are a lot of things that the droid should remember. And so, probably, he will have a lot of pieces of papers where he continuously write all the answers the human client gave him. And among all the piece of papers he got, how can I make the droid pick exactly the piece of paper used to remember a special answer? Just that answer that I need and not another one. Well, this goal is reached by naming all the piece of papers the droid uses. This way, I will tell the droid, write the answer exactly in this piece of paper, not another one. This one. And so, in future, I will tell him to recover, to pick just that piece of paper. Let's say, I don't know, we can use any name you prefer, like, also like Johnny, Mike, and so on. Maybe it is better to use names that fit the thing the droid will put inside, the answer that it will put inside. For example, if the droid will ask for a number, maybe it is better to tell the droid to write the number into the piece of paper, number answer, or I don't know, first number, number one, or anything like that. So that during the flowchart, I can say him pick number one piece of paper and read what's inside, or use what's inside. Here, I will tell him to write the answer, for example, in alpha piece of paper. So, he will write the answer, what he is hearing from the human client, not on a beta piece of paper or another piece of paper, but just inside piece of paper whose name is alpha. Okay. Now, it means that the droid should have all the piece of papers he will need with him. I usually say, before exiting home and going to work, the droid should have all the piece of papers he needs with him. He should have them already, exiting his house and going to work. So, piece of papers are the first things we will make him prepare. So usually after begin, one of the first operations typically is the preparation of the piece of papers. It's quite easy, but not so easy, because piece of papers can be of two kinds. With squares, like the ones we use commonly for scientific math, like science, chemical, I don't know. And the other kind of piece of paper is raw papers, like the common one we use for literature. And I have to specify to the droid which one he had to prepare and which name give it. So, if the droid asks for a number and we put the answer in alpha, alpha should be a square paper. But if I make the droid ask for a name or for a word, we put the answer in a raw piece of paper. And usually I write them, I use this picture of a piece of paper with its name here. It should be a raw piece of paper or a square piece of paper, depending on what it will contain, numbers or letters. And so I can also tell to use the voice to read one of those pieces of papers. So, this way, the droid will not use his voice to say alpha. No. He will use his voice to read what's written inside alpha. For example, if it's a square piece of paper and if it contains number 8, with this command, the droid will say 8, because it will read the content of alpha piece of paper. In a better scientific way, those pieces of papers are called variables. But anyway, it's the same. Okay. How can I make the droid prepare those variables, those pieces of papers, before exiting the house, before going to work? Using this command. The The rectangular shape, so, is the next shape we will see, and it is used to make the droid do something. But the preparation of variables is special, is made just at the beginning of the flowchart. Is one of the first things to do, and so it is a rectangular with there's two stripes, and this means prepare a piece of paper and call it, so give it a name. I am telling the droid, pick a piece of paper and name it, I don't know, for example, let's make alpha. But not any kind of paper. I will tell him if it is a raw paper, in Italian is righe, or a square paper. So, square. For numbers. But in a more easier way, instead of square, I will specify to use big squares like we did when we were babies. So with common numbers like 1, 2, 3, and so on. We use big squares, and they are integer numbers, and so instead of square, I will tell him to prepare int piece of paper. With int, I mean integer, and so it's for sure squared piece of paper made for integer numbers. But I have to specify to prepare another kind of square paper, the one we use when we are big, so little squares, and for real numbers, so number with comma or point, if you are a US citizen. So let's say 7, 3 or 7.3. Okay. This means that our numbers we use when we are big, when we are old, and usually paper has got little squares instead of big squares. This difference remains also to droid use, and I have to specify to prepare an int kind of paper, so a raw, or in Italian righe, kind of paper, or a real, for real numbers, kind of paper. Sometimes, instead of real, we use float, because this one is a floating point and so on. Anyway, real and float is the same. Okay, perfect. Now, rectangular shape is to give orders to the droid. there are just two kinds of orders I can give you. The first one is to prepare variables, piece of papers. The second kind is to put something into variables. So to write something into variables. It's quite different from the input shape, because in the input shape the droid will write what the client is telling at that time. But using the rectangular, the droid will write what I tell him to write. So here I will put the variables I prefer. For example, I want him to write something into alpha variables. So I will tell him alpha equal, and here I can put obviously a number if alpha is made to receive numbers, or a word if alpha is a row variable. So I can put usually three things: a number, let's say 7, or alpha, hello, if alpha is a row paper, or I can put expression, and the droid will calculate the expression and then write the answer into alpha. He will write the result into alpha. Let's say, I don't know, 7 plus 3 divided by 5. I don't know. The droid is sure will do the math. So 7 plus 3, 10, and then we'll divide by 5, so final result is 2, and he will write 2 inside alpha. I can also tell the droid to pick numbers or letters from other piece of papers that he could carry with him. For example, if he also got another variable, let's say beta, with number 7, let's say 7 inside, and so to get this situation, it's sure that at the beginning one of the first things should be this one: prepare an int variables named beta. It's sure. Somewhere at the beginning there should be this shape, this order. But I was saying, another use involves other variables you can carry with him. So rectangular is an order shape, and it is used only in two ways: to prepare the variables, and in this way, rectangular with an equal inside. On the left, I put the variable that will receive the result. Here I put what I prefer, an expression, a word, I don't know. To use beta, for example, I can say to do beta plus 3 and then divide by 5. The droid will look for beta variable and for its content, which is 7, and then we will do 7 plus 3, then we will divide by 5, final result is 2, and we will write 2 inside alpha. Okay, so ellipses, parallelograms for input and output, and rectangular to prepare variables, piece of papers, and to order directly to what write inside any variable. There's no other way to use these shapes. Then there is another shape, the last one. Well, also the arrow is a shape, so there is a final shape plus the arrow. Anyway, the last shape is this one, the rhomboid shape, rhomb shape, made in this way. This is the only shape to have 2 arrows at the exit. All the other shapes have got just one arrow at the exit, because it's impossible to exit in 2 different ways. This is impossible. The droid cannot decide. The droid should have just one exit to follow. So this is impossible. This is an error. But here we got 2 exits because only one of them is used at time, dependingly on the answer to the question here. So when the droid meets a wrong shape, he knows he will have to answer to a question, an easy question. And the answer should be true, yes, true, or no, false, no. And all the times he should be able to choose one of them and follow the one he selected. So only one time is used. The question I can put inside the ROM is just a comparison between the thing on the left and the thing on the right. And so I can ask the droid to control if something is greater than the other, or smaller than the other, greater or equal, smaller or equal, just equal, so equal means just equal, or different, not equal. This is an exclamation mark, and equal. what I can ask him? Well, for example, I can ask him to look if 7 is greater than 3. Is 7 greater than 3? Yes, that's true. So the droid will follow the true path. V is for vero in Italian. Vero. True. F is for false. False. So the droid arrives here, and then answering this question, it's sure it will follow this path. The true path is always going to the right, while the false path is always going down. Or, for example, 7 greater or equal 7. That's true. We will follow the true path. But, as before, we can involve variables into these questions, into these questions. Variables, but also expressions. So, a typical rhomb question is like that. Alpha not equal beta plus 5. The droid will look for beta content, will do the math, will do the expression. So let's say beta contains 10. This is beta. It will do 10 plus 5, 15, and we will look if alpha is not equal to 15. So alpha let's say alpha contains 1. 1 is not equal to 15, and so this is true. 1 is not equal to 10 plus 5. That's true. So the droid will follow this path. But for example, if I got 15 here, 15 not equal to 10 plus 5, so to 15. Well, that's false. 15 isn't different from 15. It is equal. So, saying 15 not equal to 15 is a false sentence. And the droid will follow this path. Okay. There are no other shapes except for arrows, which, as I said before, there could be just one arrow exiting from any shape, except for Rome. But I also can have many arrows coming to a shape. For example, I can have many arrows coming from everywhere and arriving to the same end. Okay, but also, I don't know, for the rhomb here. Maybe this rhomb I can arrive here from many points of the flowchart. But remember, just one to exit or two for the row. Another important thing for the arrow is that you should think to the droid like he will die, completely die, exiting the shape from here, or just say, from here. Exiting from any shape in some way make the droid die. What does it mean? Well, it means that once he arrives to the other shape, let's say here I'm wrong, or here I don't know, I'm wrong, it means that here he comes to life again. But since he was dead before, at the beginning of the arrow, in arriving at the new shape, it means that he completely doesn't remember what he did till now. Here, he dies. Here, he comes to life again, without knowing the situation, without knowing what happened, nothing. So it's important that every time he comes to life at the beginning of any shape, he got all the variables, all the pieces of papers that help him do his duty. Because before dying, he should have in the piece of papers all he needs when he will reborn. So I make him write on the variables everything he will need when he will come to life again. So we can say he has no memory, but his memory is all the piece of paper he carries with him. These are his memory. That's great. Okay.